Welcome to a podcast by Kayleigh, the gateway to unlocking your unlimited potential. I'm creating an army of 6- and 7-figure makeup artists, and I want you to join me. In this podcast, I'm going to be crushing gatekeeping, opening the doors to the knowledge you need, and deep diving into the topics that can push us to the next level. Be prepared for epic guests and answers to the questions you have always wanted to know. No more small business. No more just a makeup artist. The beauty industry is a $250 billion industry, and you're in it. Let's get ready to open those gates. This is a podcast by Kayleigh. Welcome back to a podcast by Kayleigh. Today, I am bringing you the absolute goat of Australian beauty. Of course, it's Mia Connor. Mia is a guest that, I'll be honest, she is one of the most requested guests of all time that I really never thought I would get on the show. My students, year on year in the mentorship, religiously show me her work as the ultimate inspiration for their own. And she really is a goalpost for many new MUAs in their artistry. So talking to her today is a big bucket list moment for the podcast. Mia is an Australian makeup artist of over 20 years and a go-to educator in our industry. She travels the world from New York to London, from Miami to Dubai, to host and teach her epic masterclasses. Her looks go viral. Her artistry is insane, and her talent and dedication to the industry is second to none. In this episode, we talk about Mia's extensive career, her content creation routines, and her thoughts on social media and Instagram, as well as, of course, her masterclasses and her upcoming tour. Her expansive knowledge of the industry is insane. There is a particular moment where Mia is talking about Instagram and content creation and long-form, short-form content, and my jaw was on the floor. I was learning so much. So we are so lucky today that she is with us to share that knowledge. Without further ado, I present to you an interview with Mia Connor.
I was up early, as you know, so I just went to like a Pilates class this morning, and then I went and got my green juice. I'm doing this celery juice thing, like I try to do it every morning, so just for health and stuff. And then I actually had a model come in and film some content for a job, so that's my day gone. How about you?
And now you're doing this. Well, I just woke up.
I'll be going to bed after this.
I don't want to take up like your whole evening, but I do want to thank you really, really quickly, because obviously I put out a Q&A. I really didn't expect anything to come of this Q&A. Your name popped up like 6, 7, 8 times on this Q&A, and I really never expected this to happen. So thank you. Thank you for like being here and giving up your evening for this.
Of course. No, I honestly, it was just absolute divine timing that you just dropped into my inbox, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
It's divine timing. It's divine.
Literally.
Let's start then. Would you mind giving us an intro? I mean, I'm pretty sure every single person who listened to this requested you. They know who you are. But would you mind giving a little intro on who you are, what you do, where you're from?
Yes, of course. So my name's Mia Connor, and I have been a makeup artist I'm literally into my 20th year this year. Last month I had my 20th year, which was when I first did my first makeup course. I'm from Australia. I live on the Gold Coast in Queensland. I've lived here for like 18 years now. And I used to be a paralegal in a law firm as well for like 10 years. So I've lived a few different lives, but yeah, so glad that I'm doing this as a full-time gig for this long.
I feel like, so I have a legal background as well, right? I started out, I did a law degree, I studied law at university, I worked in a law firm for a little while. I feel like this is quite a common thread that a lot of us makeup artists go through. We do the whole corporate thing.
Yes, there's so many paralegals.
There's so many, isn't there? Would you mind telling the story of how you got into makeup? How did you go from paralegal to world-renowned makeup artist?
So I did my first makeup course literally, well, like I said, 20 years ago, 2003, studied with Napoleon. It was literally just to learn how to do my own makeup properly. Like, I was obsessed with eyeliner. My mother's a redhead. I was not blessed with, dark lashes. I got the long lashes, but without the eye makeup, she looks a little sick. So I literally was wearing eye makeup all the time from quite a young age, like in my teens, I guess. So loved eye makeup, and then obviously went on to do the makeup course to learn how to do my own makeup properly. I was always kind of entrepreneurial, like looking for something else, like a side hustle to make more money, I guess. But I was also very creative in school. So I was always drawing. For my final years in high school, I picked up like an extra unit in art to study. And ironically, I used to draw like kind of abstract faces, which, I'm still drawing faces. Some of them are abstract. But yeah, that's how I started. I did my first makeup course just to learn how to do my own makeup. And then I was like, I actually really love doing this. Like, the makeup class and education side of it was it wasn't like normal school. It was like such a fun time. I looked forward to going like every week. And literally 2 years after that course, I moved from my hometown of Wollongong then, which is like in another state. It's in New South Wales, and now I'm in Queensland. So I literally moved states to do another makeup course with Peter Frampton, who I think he is English as well. He was the lead makeup artist for Braveheart, the movie, years ago. And yeah, that was a lot of special effects, which I was really bad at. My mind is very much symmetrical, perfect. So doing special effects for me was just, all of my bullet holes were like perfectly round, and nothing looked real at all. So yeah, I'm definitely more of a beauty kind of makeup artist, but that's how I started. And then it just kind of spiraled from there. Like, I was still doing my legal job while I was freelancing. So I'd moved states to pursue makeup, but then realized I actually didn't know a single soul in town. So I'm not sure where I was going to be getting my makeup clients from. And I'd been working a full-time job in legal, and obviously earning somewhat of an okay wage, and then to go drop back to like a student wage or even just part-time, because I worked at Mac initially for a few months. And yeah, I was like, what is this money, this retail money? I can't survive on that. So I had to go back to my legal work for about a year and a half, where I solidly freelanced. And it's probably the hardest that I've worked to get my business off the ground, just working every day. Like, before work, before my day job, I would get up at sunrise or be before sunrise to do model portfolio shoots. So I'd have like a model in my kitchen at like 2 a.m. doing her makeup and hair so that she could go off and have her portfolio shot at sunrise. And I also worked at a strip club, literally doing the dancers every night, their makeup, kind of like, I guess it would have been like Tuesday through to Saturday, which was a really good gig because the club was paying me by the hour, rather than a lot of the clubs would just kind of like, the girls would tip you here and there and you would just rely on tips. But I was getting a solid like set amount every night for 5 or 6 days a week. So yeah, but I was literally doing work 7 days a week. Like, on my days off on weekends, I'd be doing weddings and shoots. And then I ran out of annual leave with work. I had to kind of make the decision of like, okay, what's it going to be like? Because I'd take all my annual leave to do a photo shoot in the middle of the week, and then I ran out. So I was like, something's got to give here. So yeah, I gave it a good go, and I decided to quit my day job, my legal job. I did start my law degree for like 1 second, and then was like, no, this ain't it. And I eventually, and quit after maybe that was probably 18 months of solid freelancing to open actually a studio, like a salon, which was probably one of the first makeup specific salons on the Gold Coast, where I was doing like spray tanning and hair extensions and makeup and stuff. So it was quite stressful to to leave a full-time salary that was regular income to going out, not just to start freelancing, but also to have overheads, because I now had a studio that I had to pay rent on, and obviously, the fit out and stuff like that. And the money's not guaranteed. So it was pretty stressful. But I was using a lot of social media. Well, when I say a lot, it was MySpace back then, to kind of promote myself and promote my work. And I had like portfolio packages with photographers, and I was literally using MySpace as a form of marketing, basically. And that's kind of what started it all.
That's insane. MySpace. Oh my goodness. I mean, first of all, I don't understand how you've been doing makeup for 20 years, because you look 23.
Oh, come on, as if. No, I'm literally 43. I'm turning 44 in August. I've lived a few lives.
You've lived, I love the strip club part as well. I mean, you've lived a very, very colourful 20-year career. What was the jump from, because it's a really scary thing. I remember when I think back, I was a Mac girl too. And when I think back to quitting my Mac job, it was still really scary quitting a job to become your own boss and go into a big question mark of a paycheck every single month. What was that like for you? How did you make that jump? Was it scary, or did it just feel like the timing was right?
I was 27 at the time. So some would consider that was even like a little bit later in life to even be making a career change. I personally do not think that that's like old at all. And, even beyond that, I think, if you do want to make the switch, I don't think age is really relevant. But it was super stressful, to be honest with you. It was probably one of the most stressful times. However, I also had the notion of, I can just always go back to what I'm doing now. I can go back to legal work at any time. I'm a go-getter. I've always been driven and ambitious, and I'm a hard worker. So I just knew that no matter what happened, I might lose some money, but I would also always land on my feet. And I just kind of had to trust the process and trust that I could always go back to my old job. And if it wasn't that, I could always, I could do anything. I could be a waitress. I could go and work at a supermarket if I had to. Like, I would never let myself just fall in a heap and be like, oh my gosh, what now? So yeah, I guess I had confidence in myself of like a plan B, and just literally went in with the notion of, it's just money. I can make more money. I'm young enough to make more money. I'm not like putting my house, on the market to do something like this. It wasn't that big of a risk, but I mean, it certainly was unknown, and, kind of worried about like, can I make my rent every week as well as my, living expenses just in the house that I was living in. So, and it's not as if I had support from, my family's not, I'm not from a super wealthy family or anything. I didn't have, a husband or anything that could say to me, oh, honey, like, you can just play with makeup and see how it goes, and I've got you, like, if, it doesn't work out. So it was kind of all on me. But yeah, I just think, it's true what they say about taking risks and growth and things like that, and the uncomfortability of growth. If you're comfortable, you're kind of not going anywhere. So yeah, just trusted the process, and so glad that I did. I didn't want to have to look back and regret. Like, imagine if I was still chained to my paralegal desk and just being like, oh, imagine if I had have like just taken the jump and the leap of faith. So I just think, I would rather have regrets of failing than regrets of not doing or not actioning a dream.
Absolutely. I think that's incredible quote. I'm definitely going to use that as a snippet for this entire podcast. If you're not changing, you're not growing, you're not going anywhere, So you went from, MySpace to doing masterclasses all over the world, like Miami. You've been to Miami, right? You've been to New York. You're coming to London this year. How did you get there?
Well, I started doing the masterclass. I've been doing masterclasses for 10 years now, actually. So half of my makeup career is now being spent in education, which I love. And I was getting requests to, like, through social media, do you do masterclasses? And I had only ever attended masterclasses as a makeup artist looking up to another artist. And I never, ever considered myself to be someone that someone else would want to learn from. So once that question was posed to me, I launched my first masterclass locally on the Gold Coast, and then through social media, all of the other cities all of the other states, in Australia, like the capital cities, Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, Adelaide, all of them, and Canberra, they all could see that I was doing these masterclasses. So then the questions were coming in, will you come to Sydney? Will you come to Melbourne? And I was like, okay. So that's how the Australian ones started. And from MySpace, it went to, MySpace was the origin of where my marketing began. But then by the time I was starting to do my masterclasses, it was more Facebook at that point. And then obviously from Facebook, it jumped onto Instagram. And then, I was running my Australian ones. I'm going to say for maybe 5 years or 6 years, I was running my 6 or 7 years, I was running my Australian ones. And then I was literally holidaying in Croatia in 2017. And it's so funny that you don't even realize who is actually following you on Instagram and where they're from. And I was getting so many DMs when I was in Croatia from Croatian makeup artists saying, oh my gosh, you're here. Like, you've got to come back and do a masterclass. And I was like, okay. So literally the next year I planned to do my first international masterclass, and it was in Croatia. So I went to Croatia, and then the same thing happened. Like, you're posting on Instagram, and, all of the other countries in the world, the people that are following you from all different countries are watching that she travels to Croatia. Okay, well, let's get her to America. And like, how about I went to Lithuania. I went to Lima in Peru. Like, I've done so much travel, like in Europe, and I've done London and Dublin and Glasgow. So it's just all through the power of social media. And it's so true that, like, the jobs that you get back is what you're seen to be doing the most of. And if you're not seen to be doing it, people assume that you don't do it or you can't do it. So it's very, you can really control, like, the caliber and the type of work that you attract by obviously putting out the type of work that you want to be doing more of. And that's how it began.
That's so key. You've got to create what you want to book. You've got to put out there what you want to book, right?
Yeah, totally.
I have to ask, what's been your favourite place that you've done a masterclass in over the world? I've done 2 in Dublin, and to be honest, Dublin, I'm always really received really well. Maybe it's because I'm nearly a local. I don't know. With my surname being Irish, it was probably O'Connor at some point, and I probably stole a loaf of bread as a convict or something. But Dublin always welcomes me. They're just so excited. And even, to be honest, London, I was in London in 2019, and it was a really nice group as well. But, I'd have to say Dublin would probably be the top one where I felt the most, love, I guess, and just really welcomed there. The Irish are amazing. Like, they're my favourite people. Yeah. So friendly, so fun. I wish I was Irish.
Yes, they are. They're just, like you said, so friendly and welcoming and so helpful, and just a good time.
So I'd love to touch on, you're going on tour, which is pretty bloody rock star, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good to get back into it since, the old C word. So this will be my first international tour since 2019. Like the rest of the world, my work came to a screaming halt, but in particularly my masterclasses, and I was on such a roll. In 2019, I did 7 overseas trips within 6 months, I think. All of it was work, and like some holidays as well, but I can always obviously mix work and holidays together, and then all of the other domestic masterclasses and jobs and flying that I was doing. So then that just obviously completely stopped. So this is my first international masterclass tour since 2019, which is absolutely insane. But I am just literally dying to get into it. And this year I've just hit the ground running, probably faster than what I'm capable of. But yeah, I can't wait.
Can you tell us a little bit about where you're going on tour and what you're going to be teaching?
So first of all, I'm going back to Croatia, where it all began. I'm going to Zagreb, which is the capital of Croatia. So I'm there on the 12th of July, and I'm doing a look and learn masterclass. And there is a hands-on component as well at all of the venues, actually, except for the London one. So I'm in Zagreb first. Then I'm going to Dublin on the 17th of July. And then I'm going to London on the 20th of July. And I might do one in Dubai. I'm not sure yet. But the looks that I'll be covering, I'm going to be demonstrating 2 of my key signature looks. It'll definitely be a bridal look, because I know that a lot of artists really love learning, and that's kind of their bread and butter. And I do a lot of bridals, so it kind of works. And then the second look will be more of one of my more dramatic looks. So when I first started my masterclasses, I had a class called Smoke Bomb Eyes, which is so cringe. It's like your first Hotmail address or something when you look back. But I'm going back to my roots and I'm going to do a more of a dramatic look. So my dramatic looks are kind of like always paired with really nice skin. So one key focus, and then the rest is all paired back. So 2 looks in each city. And the ticket prices, I have to say, are actually in Australian dollars. There is a little bit of confusion with my online booking system, because obviously people just assume US dollars, which, you know, is much higher than our Australian dollar. So yes, tickets are online live to purchase via Instagram or my website at the moment.
I think I'm free on, is it the 20th you're coming, 20th of July,
Yeah.
You're coming to London?
Yeah.
I think I'm free, and I'm ever so tempted, because I've been so in the educational side of my business for like 2 years, and I'm feeling like I've got a whole list here of like creative ideas that I want to do. And I feel like I need to get back to being hands-on. I feel like your masterclass is going to be perfect for that.
Oh, definitely. I'm inviting you now formally. Clear your calendar. You're coming on the 20th.
I'm coming. I'm there. I've literally circled it right in front of me. So do you know the price in pounds?
So that's £457 for 2 looks, which is going to be pretty much most of the day. But I've got a ticket option where you can just buy 1 look if you're not wanting to commit to the 2. So that is, I think, starting at £242 for 1 look if you're wanting to just commit to the first look. And that's obviously just at today's currency exchange rate on Google. So just to put it into perspective.
I think that's incredible. I think I'm so of the mindset that you should always invest in your education, your artistry, your business. Whatever investment you make is going to come back if it's a good investment. And this is a brilliant investment, because you're literally learning from the goats of Australian beautiful makeup. Like, it's a no-brainer.
Well, I'm glad that you can be the spokeswoman for the tour.
I will. Carry me around in your pocket and I will give you all of the hype in.
Yeah, hype girl.
Let's circle back round to Instagram, because you mentioned that Instagram has been quite pivotal in helping kind of your business journey. What are your thoughts and feelings around Instagram right now?
I feel like it's a bit of a sinking ship, if I'm perfectly honest. A lot of people are jumping over to TikTok, where you are getting a lot more views and followers. Yeah, it's much harder to get engagement on Instagram now, and your content has to be absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely amazing to get the traction that they used to get. If I had more time, I would be focusing more on long form content for YouTube and things like that. And then literally having that as your starting point, and then literally breaking it down and making shorter versions for Instagram, TikTok, stories. YouTube, it's obviously sitting on there for years and years and years, and the content's always ticking away. Whereas, we spend so much time, and I'm guilty of this, doing Instagram stories that literally are gone within 24 hours and they're not monetized. And we're all doing it just to keep up the engagement. And, we're almost addicted to the counts and the views and the loves and the love hearts and all of the jazz. And yes, it would be smart to be focusing more on your long version content for sure.
It's such a full-time job.
Yeah, like it is a whole other job, and it's the editing.
Would you say Instagram is essential for a new baby makeup artist?
I do think using Instagram for sure is everyone. Like, I literally go straight to Instagram to research every business, not just makeup artists. When I'm looking for hotels, restaurants, even if I'm literally looking to go for a drink somewhere and I want to see who's at that bar or the restaurant and what the vibe is on that day, I go straight to their Instagram stories and see what's going on there. So I do feel like it's definitely dominated over, obviously Google and web pages and stuff like that. I feel like you could almost say you don't need a website anymore. You could just have social media, because you just don't really I guess people look at a website as more professional, but they're certainly not going to hire you because you don't have a website. And I also think as well that it's not a measure of your success. If you're booked and busy, then why does it matter how many followers you have or how many likes that post got? Because at the end of the day, like, the proof is in your calendar, not on Instagram.
Totally. So you mentioned earlier on today, just in our intro, that you were creating content today.
Yeah.
What does your content creation routine look like? Because obviously you do have quite a big following. You are pushing out some of the most spectacular, beautiful content that does get sent to me all the time by my students. I don't know if I've told you this actually, but I run a makeup course. I run it twice a year, and at the beginning of the course, I kind of asked the students, who inspires you? What inspires you? If you had to pick a role model, who would it be? And every single season, every single course, every season of the course, your name, your Instagram comes up. You're such a role model in this community for what newer makeup artists would aspire to be. Do you know that about yourself?
Probably not to that degree, no. I mean, I hear that and I get DMs from, I guess, more local students around Australia. But yeah, it's kind of mind blowing when it puts it into perspective a little bit, because you never know what other people are saying about you. You have no idea about what people think or who knows you and who doesn't. So yeah, that's quite nice to hear that. Yeah, for sure.
There you go.
Especially because you're on the other side of the world.
But yeah, your content is always sent to me, Mia, every single year, every single time I run the course. So I would love to know and I'm sure everybody would love to know, what does your content creation routine look like?
Well, this particular content creation is actually for a paid contract. I've got a 6-month contract with a brand where I have to provide 2 reels a month plus copy for their EDM, which is their email direct marketing that goes out to their database monthly for 6 months. So the reels that I have to create is obviously using all of the products from this brand. And it's super important that makeup artists are doing passion projects, which is basically, i.e., content creation days. And I used to literally every single day off that I would have, where there was this free day there, I would literally get a model in and make content. And that was my happy space and my happy time and my time that I could literally just do whatever I wanted, be completely creative. And that is the time that you're going to create the best, like the creme de la creme of your work. That is in turn obviously going to showcase your best makeup artistry skills. It's going to keep them current and up to date. And you're kind of in that routine of doing different styles of makeup. You're not getting stale, and you're creating beautiful, engaging, eye-catching content that is going to boost your profile and engagement, and obviously get more like followers and likes and all of those things, which in turn hopefully leads to more paying jobs and if not that, more brand collabs, which is what I'm doing at the moment. So it's definitely something that I encourage makeup artists to do, especially if they have the time there. Like, they need to be productive, and instead of just sitting there waiting for the work to come in, which I do find a lot of artists can get stuck in that mindset of like, oh, I'm really quiet. Oh, like, where's all the work? I'm just quiet. And they're whinging about being quiet, but they're actually not doing anything to take action to change that. They're expecting the work to fall into their lap. And if they just kind of switch their mindset around and realize that, you know, basically these content days is you placing an ad and paying for an ad. The payment is your time that you're obviously setting aside to do this, and that is your marketing spend on your own business. So you're literally putting your marketing budget into your own time, creating the content, and that's your advertising for your own business. So I definitely think more artists need to change their thinking with stuff like that, because I always say that, you know, if you keep on doing what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. And nothing changes if you don't change, like so many quotes.
Yeah. You're pulling out all the best quotes. Do you have any tips on creating amazing content? This was actually a community question. So this was one that was asked in the Q&A box on Instagram. A lot of makeup artists, I think, struggle with just, they get the model in, but they don't know what to do when they've done the makeup. So is there any tips that you found creating your own content to do with lighting or placement or just anything?
Yeah, definitely. So lighting is like the most important thing. So if your lighting is not good, the makeup is going to look terrible. Even if it's the most amazing makeup, it's not going to do the makeup justice at all. So lighting is so important. I would always push for natural light, but I do obviously understand that, you know, the sun's not often out in in the UK. So sometimes you're going to have to rely on some, you know, artificial lighting as well. So I always use a combination of as much natural light as possible. So when I'm doing content on myself that you see on my own face, I'm literally in my bedroom, sitting on my bed, which you would never really know, and I'm facing the windows. So all the natural light is coming flat onto my face. So it's important that you've always got light coming flat onto the face and not from above. And the above light source would be obviously down lights. They are the absolute devil. So you would turn off any overhead lighting and just have the light coming flat onto your face, whether that's the sunlight or it would be like an LED panel, or I've got glam core lights that I travel with, and I've got the TML, the makeup lights as well that I use. So glam core lights I take on all of my jobs. They're really lightweight and easy. You just need the one, whereas I find the TMLs, you kind of need two of them so that you're not kind of casting shadows on whatever you're working on. And the glam core, you can clip your phone into the little attachment that films. So you need to be in a doorway, close to a window, basically anything that has got the overhead light blocked from above so that all of the light is coming onto the face flatly from the front rather than overhead. And then like I said, I do use a combination of the natural sunlight and artificial lighting. And then the other thing that I would say is what you're filming with. So if you are using a phone, there's a big thing about all of the up-to-date current iPhones. The newer models are not so good, which is ridiculous to even, you know, try and understand that concept. But the newer ones over-sharpen the images. The video is always better. You'll always find your video footage looks much nicer than photos, especially on the newer phones. But the colors are always off as well. I find them really sallow, really yellow. You lose the saturation, the real true colors. So basically all of the makeup artists here in Australia, we've all got a separate content phone, and we use the old iPhone 7 Plus or the 8 Plus. And when one dies, we literally get on Facebook Marketplace and grab a new one. And I know that they're becoming really scarce because it's such an old model. We're literally up to 14 now. But it's honestly the best. I do all of my content on my 7 Plus. It's a softer focused lens. The colors are nicer, and it doesn't over sharpen. So I can always tell a makeup artist that's using one of the newer phones, particularly in their images, in their stills, because I can see the extra sharpened texture that comes up in the model's skin, and the colors are just quite yellowy. So that's definitely lighting, what you're using to shoot the content with, all of those things come into play. But then also it's the angles of the content as well, and the close proximity to the subject. So I see a lot of content when I'm running my content creator masterclass. I go through how I take all my photos and videos, and I'm seeing a lot of artists when they're first starting to take their photos and their videos, they're just too far away from the model. So, I mean, you can't get so close that it's a macro shot on an iPhone because it actually distorts the proportions of the face because it's just an iPhone camera. But literally you want to be here. Like, I know people can't see these measurements on this podcast, but basically the top of the head to the top of their head is, almost touching the top of the frame of the photo. And then I would shoot down probably to like armpit level would be my minimum kind of like scope for a frame. And if the model had like longer hair and you wanted more of the hair in shot, you could shoot a little bit lower to get all of that in. But that would be the minimum starting point, because I see makeup artists just too far away, and then you can't see the makeup up close. Everyone wants to see the makeup up close, particularly if you are videoing the makeup. We all want to see the makeup like your point of view. So when I'm filming my reels, I'm literally doing kind of like the final touches of whatever it is, an eye or whatever I'm doing. And I have the phone in the other hand, which does take a little bit of practice to kind of like get the two going together. And half of the time, I'll look on the screen and the model's not even in the shot because I'm trying to watch with with my eyes what I'm doing. But you do get you just capture little kind of frames of that content for reels. But it is, from my point of view, it's quite close so that it's detailed, and people just love watching stuff up close, especially things that are quite intricate, like doing a liner or, even like a pop lip. People love watching that. Anything that looks difficult, they love watching all of that go down. So content like that always performs really well versus content that I would call more on the boring side. If you're fluffing around too much, doing too much, like I always use the example of too much skin prep. If you've gone through your 7-step skin prep and the end result is a black smoky eye, you've already lost me like 5 seconds in when you're on to product number 5 for the skin. So I just want to get to the juicy part, and everyone's attention spans are so minimal now. It's getting like shorter and shorter and shorter, and particularly for TikTok, like I'll be doing reels on TikTok that literally are 7 seconds. So there's not much you can really fit in. It has to be really quick. So my general rule of thumb with doing reels is don't get emotionally attached to your content. And if it's not good, just cut it and cut to the chase. And my frames of per whatever I'm capturing, say if it was like the skin or the eyeshadow or the foundation application and the lip, they're literally maximum 1 second frames. And sometimes they'll be less than that. I'll speed it up so that you can make it quicker and more condensed. But as a general rule of thumb, 1 second frames, nothing longer than that, because people just lose interest, as funny as that sounds.
Oh my gosh. You are I have to say, amazing at this. Like, I was so engaged just then. Like, you're so good at teaching the content and obviously the makeup as well. But that was so juicy what you just told us.
Oh, thank you. I do love teaching a lot. And I do go into a lot of detail as to the why and the how. And, you know, talking about just the tiniest little bit of information will drastically change that makeup artist's way of doing a particular thing. And it will drastically change the outcome. And they will literally have so many light bulb moments of like, oh, finally, like that's how I do this. Like, because the whole time it's like they can't see the forest for the trees sometimes. And it takes like just a little explanation as to why and how. And that's what I do in my masterclasses. I don't stop talking. I hate dead air. So that's why all the words are just still coming out on this podcast.
We got to fill that lag, girl. We got to fill it.
Yes, fill it up.
This podcast is brought to you by the Level Up Club, my monthly membership for makeup artists. Imagine a place created with done-for-you monthly resources and coaching, literally everything you need to create and scale a profitable, thriving makeup business. Well, it exists, and it's called the Level Up Club. I am so proud of this membership. I literally poured my heart and soul into it. Inside, you will find monthly Canva templates, monthly stock images, social media calendars, email templates, workflows, pro program lists, agency lists, monthly coaching, and conversations with the people who can help smash gatekeeping. I'm talking agency owners, PRs, top makeup artists and experts. They're all inside. And not only that, but monthly in-person events. We have already held portfolio days, headshot days, branding days, and so much more is coming. The club is taking the mystery out of making money. Your makeup business doesn't have to be make-believe, and I'm showing you how. And guess what? It's only £30 a month. In London, that's literally 2 hot chocolates. I'm not even kidding. So come and join us, the only membership I promise you'll ever need. Now, back to the pod. You mentioned that you have a content creation masterclass.
Yeah, so it's basically I have 2 different masterclasses. I run a bridal specific one and I run my content. I've renamed it Sultry Eyes and Content Creation because I wanted to kind of incorporate my old Smoke Bomb Eyes class, get the dramatic eyes back in there, but have it like I designed this class a few years ago now because for obvious reasons, there were so many makeup artists that I would see in my classes that were absolutely phenomenal and their makeup was amazing. And then I would see the photos go up on Instagram and get tagged in them from my masterclass that they'd worked on and created in the class. And I'd be like, what the hell happened there? Because I saw the work in real life and it was amazing. And then it wasn't translating through into the imagery, which was such a shame for that artist because I saw how amazing it was in real life. So I knew that there was definitely a gap in the market there for artists. We do, whether you like it or not, you need to know how to capture your work. Unless you're relying solely on a word of mouth audience, you're going to have to be capturing a few photos for social media if that's the path that you're kind of intending to go down. And it's not that hard. Like, we're all creatives. It's just another adaptation onto, our artistry, and we all have an eye for detail, symmetry and balance, or I hope we all do as makeup artists. It's part of the job. So taking the photos, knowing your light, knowing the model's angles, all of those things, it's easy to adapt to, I feel. And there was definitely a gap in the market, and not just that, but also how to not just creating the content, but then what are you doing with the content? What are we doing with that, beautiful imagery or that beautiful video? How can we capitalize on every single tool that is inside of whether it's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, or whatever, because there's so many things that are sitting around there that, you know, it's right in front of you, and you're not even using it. You're not even capitalizing on using the caption, for instance, on Instagram and making that, you know, perhaps an educational piece, which is also going to be engaging for your viewer, instead of just relying on the artistry, the imagery itself. Why not put a killer caption with that and then have an engaged audience that you're building trust with, that you eventually may want to, you know, sell, whether it's a makeup course to them or, you know, come and get married, whatever it is, or if you're wanting to launch your own product, you've got a warm audience there that is already got trust in you that you can literally start selling to. So many things, and the hashtags that you're using, all different ways that you can leverage off the tools in Instagram and social media to get more engagement and more views and visibility, I guess, rather than just kind of like shooting without aiming. You want to obviously set it all up nicely so that when it launches, you know, it's launching into the right audience, basically.
So many bombs. Are you going to be doing any of the content creation and the social media side at the London and Dublin and Croatia masterclasses?
Yes. So basically, I have decided that my bridal masterclass and my sultry eyes and content creator class, they had a baby and this one was born. So it's going to literally be a combination of the two, because I feel like everyone wants both. Everyone wants a bit of bridal, a little bit of like sultry, and they always want to know like how I take my photos and all that sort of stuff. So definitely there'll be major elements. You'll be able to watch me take all of my images and, you know, talk about social media and how I get engagement and all of those things. So yes.
Wow, I'm so excited. I can really, really tell from interviewing you today and just from your reels and everything. You love teaching. I really can tell that. When somebody loves what they do, they light up and they talk differently. You probably know that. And you light up and you talk differently when you're teaching. And I love that for you. Yeah,
I do. I honestly, it's a real feel-good job and a really rewarding job, particularly when I can show an artist that perhaps has been doing something one way for years, even longer than me, and I've given them such a simple turn the car around, let's do it like this. And they just literally, their faces light up and they're so thankful that I have changed their artistry. And it might be in a small way, but it's more of overall, it's quite a dramatic after effect. So I love it. I love, as you can see, I talk a lot and I go into a lot of detail. I never did any masterclasses. I went to a couple of masterclasses myself, but I never did any assisting work. I kind of had to learn a lot, pretty much everything that I've learned, I've had to kind of pick up along the way. And I feel like my artistry would have excelled a lot quicker than it did if I had have kind of done assisting work or done more masterclasses and had those moments that I'm giving my makeup artists, those light bulb moments, rather than just having to stumble around in the dark and trial and error and try and figure it out for myself, because that's literally how I've learned most of my artistry and the particular way that I do things to kind of solve a problem, getting from A to B as efficiently as possible. So yeah, I love passing on all of that information to other artists and just watching them grow and evolve and become better artists. It's great. It's a great feeling.
Yes, it's an honor and a privilege to know that you can help somebody's career and help them make more money. It's just amazing.
Yeah, and there's plenty of work for everybody. When I first started doing my masterclasses, I had a lot of people saying, "Oh my God, what are you doing? You're sharing all of your secrets. Aren't you just creating your own competitor?" And I was like, "Girl, it's taken me years to get here. I can teach someone over and over and over, but they will always do it their own way, their own unique way." And like I said, I'm not going to be shut down and pushed out of business by running masterclasses. I think that's a really narrow mindset to be keeping all of your information close to your chest, and it's also a bit I don't know, low confidence, a bit insecure perhaps. I am happy to share, and I'm confident in my own artistry, and I just always believe that there is more than enough work for everybody, because there's always different calibers of artists and there's always different budgets for jobs, and there will be someone for every particular job. You're not going to get every job. So yeah, I'm all for it, the education side and sharing for sure.
So I do a little fun game at the end of every podcast episode. This is a quick fire round called Smashing the Gate. I'm going to ask you, a few questions, and they're just quick fire questions, but you can elaborate if you want to. Sound good?
Yeah. Yep. Perfect.
Okay, what is your top bridal product of all time?
It would have to be a tubular mascara. It is the Pony Cosmetics White Night Mascara. I've used it for years. Controversial. It's not waterproof. It is tubular, but I always push tubular over waterproof.
I was expecting like a base or an eyeshadow, but mascara's sturdy, isn't it?
Yes, it's a necessity. It's the icing on the makeup cake.
Tips on nailing winged liner, which I know is your thing.
So the eye must be looking straight ahead. It cannot be closed. It cannot be looking up. Your tick has to go on with the eye looking straight ahead, because everything changes when the eye closes and opens. Obviously, the folds in the eye moves, and then your wing will be distorted if you do it with the eye closed, unless the person's eye is completely flat, but always eyes looking straight ahead for the tick.
I love that. You're so quick at these. Oh my God. You're like the quickest. Okay. Biggest piece of advice to a new baby makeup artist?
To practice and practice and practice, and forever be doing makeups after makeups. Go and work on a counter so that your hours doing makeup is at its all-time high. You get access to all different faces, ages, races on repeat, and timing is always important in that particular environment. So you're going to be working on your skills and your speed and your customer service skills, which we all need in this business.
Number one, cannot live without product on yourself.
It would have to be, I've got two. Concealer is a must. I'm using the new MAC Studio Fix All Over Face. It's a concealer and a foundation in one. It's like a little injector kind of apparatus that you can use as a concealer and a foundation, and I love it. I've got really dark circles under my eyes, thanks Mum, and I literally will not leave the house without concealer under my eyes, and I love that one because it doesn't crease as much. And I mean, I am in my 40s now, so I'm always looking for products under the eyes that aren't going to make me look 100 years old, and this one is great. I don't touch it all day. I don't even set it. I'm actually not an under eye setter. So that's one product, and the other one is definitely mascara, because again, Mum's a redhead. I'm not blessed with the amazing dark lashes, and I love on my own lashes the Stila Huge Lash Mascara. I love it. It's so I can swim in it. It's not waterproof, but I can still swim in it, but it makes my lashes really full and long.
I love that. Good products. What is one thing you wish you knew earlier?
How busy I'm going to be. No, let me think about that. I wish I knew earlier. I feel like I wish that I had have chosen which path I was going to go down in terms of the platform. Like, am I going to be a bridal makeup artist? Am I going to be a photo shoot makeup artist? Or am I going to be a social content creator? And I feel like I wish that I kind of niched down on maybe just one or two of those instead of I feel like I'm trying to do all of the things, and I'm on this like kind of ride that I can't get off because I'm so committed. But I feel like I would love to be doing, more online courses, for instance, but I can't at the moment because I'm so stretched everywhere else. So I feel like I wish before everything kind of like snowballed that I kind of made my path clear. that would make my life a lot easier. And I feel like when you're doing multiple things, you're overcommitted, you're doing everything not very well. I'd rather be doing like niching down and doing, you know, a couple of things really well. So I think that's super important, not to stretch yourself too much. But also on that note, I would be getting bored doing the one thing. So I do love variety, and I do think it's important as well to be able to, you know, have your kind of finger in heaps of different pies just in case one fails. Like COVID was a perfect example of that. Like all of the weddings were falling over and getting cancelled, the event. So all of the bridal makeup artists, they literally had no work, whereas all of the photo shoots tripled and was so busy. So I did both. So I could keep going with that. So there's definitely pros and cons, but that's a really long-winded reply. I told you I talk a lot, but definitely I wish I had a clear direction. Yes.
I can definitely relate to you a little bit on that, because I don't know if you feel the same way, but I feel like in my head, there are like 100 things I want to do. Like I feel like I want to experience life and my career to the fullest.
Yes.
So I want to do like, I've got a list of things that I want to create and I want to launch and I want to, I don't know, invest in. So I think it's a double-edged sword, you know. It's exciting. We want to do these things. That's what life's all about. But then it's like, that takes me away from this. It's really hard to balance that.
Yeah. And I also think as well with makeup artists, a trait that most of us hold is that we are perfectionists. I know that I'm a major perfectionist, but it's to my strength and to my detriment. Obviously, my makeup artistry is, you know, quite clean. So that's the perfection side coming into play there. But however, other things get put on the back burner because they're not perfect yet. So I'm not going to launch that yet. I can't send that off and send it out and release it into the world because it's not perfect yet. So then I become a procrastinator and you're not moving forward. So yeah, definitely a blessing and a curse, that one. And I think a lot of makeup artists are perfectionists for sure.
It's hard. It's a hard thing to balance, but I always think try and use it as your superpower. You know, try not to shun it and just use it as your ultimate superpower.
Definitely. Because not everyone has that.
I could do with a bit more perfectionism, to be honest. Sometimes I put a post out there and I'm like, oh, could have worked a bit harder on that.
Oh, well, you'll probably go further than a lot of us.
What has been the biggest hurdle in your career so far, and how did you jump over it?
I guess COVID was like a major hurdle, but we all went through. That was probably the most stressful and out of nowhere and unpredictable thing. Like in our industry, weddings, that's your bread and butter. No matter what's happening in the economic world, that is always happening. So when, you know, all of the weddings started to cancel, I was like, oh shit, like what's going to happen? I literally had envisioned myself that I had, you know, gone and packed up my bags, moved states back home to my parents and asking for my old legal job back. That's where my mind went with that. So probably that has been the hardest. Other than opening my studio, which was also stressful, I think everything else has fallen into place for me. Luckily, I did get in at an early time when social media was starting up, and I did know how to kind of work it. Like, as I said, I was using MySpace for marketing when people were just using MySpace as their top 9 best friends or whatever. I was literally already using it back then as like a tool to market my work. So I was kind of always a little bit ahead of the game in that respect. So yeah, I've just been lucky, I guess. But yeah, I haven't had too many hard times apart from those.
It's not luck though. It sounds like from this whole interview, I think everybody's going to agree, you're a hard bloody worker. It's a sprinkling of luck,
yes,
but it's like 90% hard work.
Yeah, definitely. It's I've always been a hard worker, like in any job that I've done. And again, it's probably where the perfectionism comes in. Even if I hate the job, I will do the job to the best of my ability because it's a reflection on me. And I would just die if somebody was like saying, oh, Mia did that job really bad or whatever. So I guess I do have good work ethic. It's just standards. I have high standards of the whatever I produce. And that could have been me working in Leonard's chicken shop when I was 17 or whatever, right through to like, you know, doing my makeups now for a bride. Even if I'm tired or short of time or whatever the situation is, I'll always do everything to the best of my ability, because I would just feel not good about it if I did a half-assed job. So yes, I am definitely a hard worker. I'm a doer.
Good way to be, I think. Last question for you is there anything that you're working on right now that you can share with us? What is next for Mia Connor?
Well, it would have to be the relaunch of my liquid eyeliner. So in 2020, I launched my first product, which was black liquid liner, because I love liner. I've worn wing liner for years. It's my thing. I love doing wing liner work, but this one was more for personal use because it was a pen. Unfortunately, I had some manufacturing issues and I had to take it off the shelves. There was just a few faulty ones in the batches. So I am literally relaunching that, and I'm actually wearing the brown sample at the moment. I'm going to be launching a black one and a brown one. It was only the black one that was available, so I'm going to bring the brown one in, which everyone's wanting a brown, and that will be launching this year. So that's one thing. The other thing is always in the back of my mind is online courses. I've just got to make the time to literally film. I was going to do an online makeup academy, and it just overwhelmed me so much, the amount of content that I was going to have to create to even just niche it down to a bridal course. It's just like, how long is a piece of string? Like, it's endless. So I do definitely want to do some online courses because there's such a demand there, and it's literally just waiting. Like, there's money to make there for me, and, you know, pass on my teaching and skills to people that can't access my masterclasses. So that's definitely in the pipeline, but I just need to find the time.
That's it. It's the endless journey to finding more time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Amazing, Mia. Right. So where can everybody find you? And most importantly, where can we book in for your tour masterclass dates?
So you can book in. The quickest way would be just via Instagram, my @MiaConnor page. There is a book now button on my main page on Instagram, and you literally just select book class, and then you'll be able to see all of my masterclasses. For the international ones, there's a drop-down menu of select your international masterclass. So all of the dates and information and prices are there. A reminder that it's in Australian dollars, not American dollars. And you can book via my website as well, which is just miaconnor.com, or send me an email. Have a chat with me if you have any questions.
I have to say, out of everyone that has like your level of following, Mia was one of the nicest people to talk to. Like, you have such wonderful email etiquette. You have so much time for people. I just adored that.
Oh, thank you, love. I think it's super important to do that, because like, there's often I will send voicemails to, like, say I've got a makeup artist in my DMs. I've never even spoken or met this person. I have no idea who they are, but they might be inquiring about a masterclass, and I will literally send them a voicemail, which is quite personal, and it kind of like, you know, you're building rapport already from the get-go. So I find doing things like that and spending the time, in curating a nice response goes a long way, and actually responding, period, because a lot of people don't reply at all. And I totally get it. We don't have like an endless supply of time, but I do basically reply to all of my DMs and comments as much as I can. And yeah, majority of them, I always get back to them.
It is. It's something I need to get better at, to be honest. I'm excellent at DMs. My DMs are such an open space, but my comments, I always get behind on my comments. But I'm going to take a leaf out of Mia's book. It's important. It's definitely important.
Yeah, it's giving back. It's giving back the appreciation.
So thank you so much for spending your evening with me. I'm going to let you go to sleep. Just a heads up to everybody listening. It is like, what time is it in Oz right now?
Oh, it's 8:25 p.m. at the moment. It's fine. The street lights are on. It's fine.
Hopefully, I mean, it's not even a hopefully. I'm going to see you in a month's time when you're on tour. I would absolutely love to come and learn from you. Thank you so, so much for today, Mia.
Pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. It's been amazing chatting with you.
You have been listening to a podcast by Kayleigh. Thank you so much for tuning in today and being on this mission with me to self-improvement and taking steps towards financial empowerment. If you liked what you heard today, be sure to follow me on the gram at by Kayleigh Designs, where I post pretty much daily. I would also love to hear your thoughts, feedback, and energy, so please do leave me a review on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you are listening today. In the meantime, I want you to go forward, believe in yourselves, and be the change you want to see. Bye, guys.